Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
We are going live as well. Climate change is one of the most important concerns of our times, and it poses serious risk to environment, economy, and human welfare. Immediate and collective action at local, national, and global levels is needed to combat climate change. To better prepare for these challenges, a main priority is youth, who have a central role in combating climate change. Esteemed dignitaries, young fellows, and my colleagues, it is truly a pleasure to welcome you virtually to the launch of the fifth edition of the Youth Climate Conclave and Photography Competition. My name is Monmi Barwa. I am from the Education for Youth Empowerment area of Environment Education and Awareness Division at the Energy and Resources Institute, TERI. I am honored to be your MC for this launch event. Coinciding with the International Youth Day, which is a day that offers a chance to raise awareness of the need to ensure the engagement and participation of youth, we are here today to mark the beginning of another edition where youth are united in their mission to develop creative solutions to combat climate change. YCC is being held under the India EU Clean Energy and Climate Partnership, that is CECP project, which is financed by the Partnership Instrument of the European Union and managed by the Delegation of the European Union to India, with knowledge support from MOEFCC, GIZ, CEEW, and Climate Fresk. And PwC is the implementing partner for this project together with the NIRAS Euro Chambers and the CEEW. TERI has been implementing the YCC activity since 2019. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests. Their presence enriches our event and we are privileged to have them share their insights with us. The event today is graced by the presence of Mr. Seppo Nurmi, the affairs Delegation of the European Union to India, Mr. Virendra Shekhawat, founder, Delhi Photography Club, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, Dr. Dipankar Saharia, Senior Director TERI. We also have with us our YCC alumni who have done excellent work in their field and are here today to share some insights with you. We have Ms. Achal Gautam, Youth Representative at the SB60 in Bonn, Germany. We have Mr. Ashrat Nihal, who is the Youth Engagement Coordinator at the Ramphal Institute and the Global Coordination Executive UNJO, that is UNFCCC Youth. We have Mr. Achinta Ghoshal, who is the Youth Climate Advisor, British Council. Also, Ms. Komal Tiwari, a student at the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Bhubaneswar, and Mr. Darsh, who is the Executive Director at the RESIS 2. The event is also live streamed on TERI's YouTube channel, and we have more than 300 participants who have registered for the event today. So thank you all for joining. I would now request Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General at TERI, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Monmi, and welcome to all those who are present today. And I should say it's a very great day for all of us. At TERI, we firmly believe that the youth are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but also the catalyst for change today. Their energy, creativity, and unwavering commitment to environmental sustainability are what drives us further. Today, we all have come together with a shared vision and a common purpose to empower our youth to take the lead in combating climate change and to foster a spirit of innovation and collaboration. This event stands as a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of our youth in addressing the pressing challenges of climate change. In fact, today, just a little while ago, we were discussing that perhaps Delhi has never witnessed such rains, and it's all over the country. So whether it is our colleagues or fellow citizens stranded in traffic jams due to excessive rain, and prior to that, Delhi also witnessed the kind of temperatures which we have never seen in the past. So climate change is something which is, I should say, a real. It's no more a threat, it is a reality, and perhaps uglier than what we predicted by IPCC reports and other studies. And therefore, it becomes extremely important that apart from all the scientists and leaders, it is the youth who take care of the changing climate and the actions which are needed. The Youth Climate Conclave is an innovative and dynamic platform which is dedicated to engaging young people in critical discourse on climate change. It is important to reflect that while we will hand over the planet to our youth, we are also passing over climate-related impacts for them to respond to and cope with. Hence, the earlier we start preparing youth to position against these odds, the better it is for them and for entire humanity. With positive opportunities emerging from innovative developments, new technologies and startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem, forums like YCC offer an opening to bring together common concerns to promote sustainable solutions. YCC, through its inception in 2019, has created several such opportunities of reaching out to Indian youth from all parts of the country. The conclave promises to be an interesting event with high-level speakers, interviews, quizzes, and youth debates. YCC 2025 will conclude with a youth pledge that will be further presented at the World Sustainable Development Summit, which is scheduled between March 5th to 7th, 2025 in New Delhi. We are aware that climate change requires action at policy levels and also changes in our personal lifestyle. In TERI, we have always mainstreamed the voices of youth in climate change discourse, and it is critical to understand that the future is in their hands, and it is through them that we can usher into a new paradigm of change. We are also conscious of the fact that the youth of today are demanding climate action from world leaders. Avenues like YCC are important in bridging the existing gap. We are reaching out to a generation of children and teenagers to create a ripple effect to push society towards environment responsible behavior, simultaneously explaining the science of climate change and global developments in this era. This event is a significant milestone in our collective journey towards sustainable development and climate action, and it would not have been possible without the unwavering support of our esteemed partners. My deepest appreciation to the delegation of the European Union to India. The EU has been always promoting such sustainable development and environmental protection initiatives, and your support for the conclave reflects the EU's strong commitment to global climate action and the empowerment of young leaders. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has been instrumental in driving policies and initiatives that address the pressing challenge of climate change, and their support for this conclave since the beginning, that is 2019, underscores their dedication to empowering the youth and engaging them in meaningful climate action. I'll also like to extend my gratitude to our knowledge partners, that is GIZ, CEEW, Climate Fresk, who made the conclave possible and ongoing for the last editions. Together, we are creating a network of empowered individuals who are ready to take on the mantle of environmental stewardship. To all the young participants, I want to emphasize that this conclave is about you and for you. It's an opportunity for you to showcase your talent, express your ideas, and collaborate with like-minded individuals. I encourage you to make the most of this experience, engage actively, and take bold steps towards creating a sustainable future. Please think out of the box. We need solutions, and I'm sure you are going to contribute a lot in creating such solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for a warm welcome. Your words have set the tone for what promises to be a remarkable event. Uh, An overall aim of YCC is to develop a network of young talent that would pioneer transformative solutions to counter the impacts of climate change and provide them with a platform to deepen their understanding about climate change and also to facilitate the climate action. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, we have a screening of the curtain raiser of the Youth Climate Conclave 2024 to 2025, for which I would request our IT team to do the needful. Over to you, Ritu.
Avenues like YCC are important to bridging the gap. We are reaching out to a generation of children and teenagers to create a ripple effect to push the society towards environment responsible behavior and simultaneously explaining the science of climate change and global developments in this area. YCC, through its inception in 2019, has created several such opportunities of reaching out to Indian youth from all parts of the country. In TERI, we have always mainstreamed voices of the youth in climate change discourse. It's crucial to understand that the future is in their hands and it is through them that we can usher in a new paradigm of change.
I would like to state that youth need to occupy the future for climate change. Youth of today should act now, else we will face the peril of climate change. The Youth Climate Conclave is a great platform for spreading awareness on climate change and related issues, and I wish this conclave a very successful event. I am sure all of you will play a very important role in making our planet a better planet with no one leave behind.
Thank you, Ritu, for screening the curtain raiser. We will be sharing details about the fifth edition with you. This is to all the participants, so stay tuned for it. To foster a community of young innovators dedicated to crafting solutions that mitigate the effects of climate change, YCC was launched in 2019, as mentioned, and is supported by the delegation of the European Union to India. We are truly fortunate to have with us today Mr. Seppo Nurmi, charged the affairs at the delegation of the European Union to India. Thank you, sir, for supporting YCC in more ways than one. Request Mr. Nurmi to deliver these special remarks. Over to you.
Thank you very much. It is really always a great pleasure to attend TERI events. I have such fond memories visiting your campus and also attending your events. I remember at least one in Habitat Center about a year ago. So it is really a pleasure and an honor to be at the opening of this event. And I want to just congratulate dear Director General Dwavan for TERI's work. And I also like to greet excellencies and distinguished colleagues, friends, and participants. I'm very happy to connect with you today to open this very important event through which, together with our friends from TERI, we are trying once again to spread knowledge and awareness about the emergency of what we call the climate action. The climate is changing, the global warming is progressing, and we can experience it personally all around the world. In Europe, the average temperatures keep increasing every year. 21st of July was the hottest day ever recorded. We see droughts every winter and wildfires every summer. But also here in India, the weather is more and more extreme. In May and June, I experienced the most incredible heat wave I have ever experienced in my life. We hear more and more news of torrential rains, floods, and landslides, which have sometimes really tragic consequences, like 2 weeks ago in Kerala. All those natural disasters, their growing frequency and unpredictability affect not only our everyday individual life events, but also destiny and welfare of entire societies, countries, economies. They remind us daily on the gravity of the situation and urgency for joint action. You need to understand how delicate our planet's ecosystems are and why the balance between humans, nature, and natural resources must be preserved. The climate is changing because of the intensive emissions of greenhouse gases, in particular carbon dioxide. Those gases have been emitted for decades by practically every sector of human activity, the energy sector, industry, transport sector, even agriculture. In Europe, we fully assume our historical responsibility for those emissions over the last century, and that is why we have strongly embarked on an ambitious and fast path of decarbonization. We are doing our homework no matter how difficult it is for our consumers and businesses, industry and agriculture. We know it is simply necessary. The European Union has set itself an extremely ambitious target to be climate neutral already by 2050. But we don't postpone our actions for later. We have committed, and it is a serious binding commitment enshrined in our law, that we will reduce our greenhouse gases emissions by 55% by 2030. We are well on track to reach that objective, while at the same time we are already working on the next target, which has been recommended to be a 90% reduction by 2040. If this recommendation is agreed by all our legislative bodies, it will become part of our next national determined contribution that will be submitted to the UN Climate Summit next year in Brazil. And we are looking forward to hear equally ambitious commitments from our international partners, also from India. Because climate change cannot be dealt with by one small continent only, it must be addressed by the entire global community, and in particular by large, fast-growing and intensive energy-consuming economies like India. And you are already doing very well. India aims at becoming net zero by 2070. We all know the ambitious targets announced by Prime Minister Modi in particular related to massive renewable energy deployment. And there's also progress when it comes to policy instruments and legal tools. You have the Energy Conservation Act. You have strong incentives in place to develop renewable generation capacity. You have started working on the carbon market and carbon credit system. So yes, India is progressing on the right track in line with the commitment from the highest political order. However, to achieve our common goal of stopping the global warming, we need to act together. And that's why we are here together in this conclave. This is a perfect example of the cooperation between the European Union and India in the field of climate action and in engagement with the youth who should be fully aware and engaged to fight climate change. The future of our planet is in young people's hands, and many are taking action. Even small steps, such as swapping the car for a bike, refusing to use single-use plastics, can make a big difference. Young people are also finding their voice in demanding more climate action from decision makers right across Europe. Climate action is a crucial part in our bilateral cooperation programs, which support the efforts of our partner countries towards decarbonization. In India, this is done under the framework of the EU-India Clean Energy and Climate Partnership, which is financially and technically supporting also this initiative. Over 2 cycles of this large cooperation platform, over the last 8 years, the EU has brought its leading experts, shared our best practices, advised Indian authorities on decarbonization legislation and policies. We have organized literally hundreds of meetings, conferences, study tours, and contributed to spread awareness about the urgency of climate action among the most influential parts of the society, local leaders, academics, activists, and most importantly of all, to you, the young generation, the leaders of tomorrow. For this reason, I find it so important to be here with you today. I am very happy to see so many of you being present, aware, and ready to contribute to our common goal. For the moment, thanks a lot for your interest and participation in this important event. I encourage you to engage and connect with like-minded people to empower the society to secure your future. Good luck in your personal path towards green future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Numi, for motivating our youth. And it's an encouragement, you have provided to your youth. We look forward to, working with the delegation for the 5th edition. Thank you once again. While we are waiting for a few guests to join in, it is an honor to invite a youth voice to now deliver a perspective that we need. We welcome Ms. Achal Gautam to share her views on the subject. Over to you, Achal.
Thank you so much. Hope everyone is having a great day. I am absolutely thrilled and honored to be provided this wonderful opportunity wherein I'm not only putting my perspective in such an important discussion as a youth, but I'm also carrying the voices of youth at large. Of course, to absolutely satisfy and bring forth the voices of millions of youths is not possible. But with my opportunities that I have, the knowledge that I have gathered, I tried my best to do so. So as Vibha ma'am said very rightly, youth are the catalyst of change. Youth are the leaders and hope for tomorrow. This is a very common phrase that we all hear in this century. And the fact that no one really knows when tomorrow is, and neither has it come, right? But right now, currently, we are already facing the effects of climate change with respect to what we have thought about it as something that would come. tomorrow, whether it be the extreme heat waves in Sudan or not even going internationally in our own country, in Delhi, for example, the floods that we've been facing, the absolute devastating infrastructure clashes and breakage that we've seen in the mountains. This is all a result of climate change. And the consequences of climate change is something that we all have faced directly or indirectly, one way or another. Now, talking about the youth perspective, it is absolutely true that we are not just the future leaders, but active agents of change in the present. We've grown up in a world increasingly defined by the realities of climate change, and our voices are absolutely crucial in shaping a sustainable and equitable future. Talking about the youth engagement in the climate space, I have been involved in climate space for over 6 years now, and in the beginning of my journey, I was mostly involved with events. I'm actually very blessed to be starting with events under various ministries, under associations, NGOs. But I think where my vehicle took that acceleration was definitely it was YCC. I was a part of YCC 2022 and 23, wherein I learned not only um, the perspective of youth from the fellows that I met there, but also what the leaders, the current people who are actively involved in this space, what they think about climate change, how they are involved, what they are doing to combat the effects of climate change as a whole. And I think the star point was definitely the World Sustainable Development Summit, which usually follows YCC, because at that platform, I was able to attend sessions where the high level people were present, people who are the industry, like big industrialists, or per se people who are actively involved in climate change for decades now. They all were present, and we were able to question them. We were able to get the perspective of what they are doing, how they are playing their part in climate change and the climate action arena. So that was a wonderful experience. But definitely, I think very recently, SB60. So usually there are two very, very major events under UNFCCC. One is SB, the subsidiary bodies, the sessions of subsidiary bodies that usually happens in Bonn, Germany. And the other one is COP, which changes the country, the location changes. So we're having COP29. And the main focus of COP29 this year is NCQGs, or finance for climate action. But SB60s really, really widened my exposure. I really learned about the perspective of not just Indian youth, but also global youth, what they want, what they are expecting, how they are getting involved in the climate space, and what are their wants. So going a brief over them, there are some topics called the ACE, supposedly Action for Climate Empowerment, which focuses on capacity building, correct education, and quality education to people, because this is a very common thing that we're hearing in climate space, is that people who are involved in climate space, only they know about the climate space and the climate issues. So the main focus and something that youth actively vouches for is capacity building amongst all stakeholders of climate change, because when climate change strikes, it does not differentiate on the basis of caste, gender, age, whatsoever. Everybody needs that kind of awareness and knowledge building to combat the effects of climate change. Then the other point that we discussed was definitely Paris Agreement, and then the Kyoto Protocol, how all the countries are expected to play their part in the reduction of global the GHG emissions. And for the same, we submit BTR. So these are they were very new concepts to me. But then being in that situation, being in that place, I learned about it. Then with respect to agriculture, we vouch and fight for the rights of farmers, the protection of farmers against any kind of laws that may occur globally. Then regarding oceans and mountains, we again fight for the people whose livelihood depends on oceans, who are whose livelihood depends on mountains. We, as youth, we vouch for their rights. We vouch for the inclusion of indigenous communities, the inclusion of local communities, their says, because these people are very vulnerable to climate change and its effects. So this is what we all vouch for. Then with respect to climate finance, a very common phrase I heard there was, we want grants and not loans, because global now, North, in terms of finance transfer, they want to give loans. But as global South and the way that what we can afford also, we expect grants. Again, another topic that that was very common was the fintech mechanism and linkages, that it is very true that good financial investments are made into good technological areas when you have the knowledge about the finance, when you have the knowledge where to invest. So, as we all know, that global south requires the tech transfer. We need that from global north, and we expect that from them. So this is also something that youth vouches for, the importance of good tech transfer, so that we can actually lower our GHG emissions and not go over the 1.5 degrees Celsius target that we are absolutely all afraid of. Then we also talk about loss and damage. So youth also vouches for loss and damage and the proper compensation of loss and damage, and also historical responsibility. Because let's talk about India. We started our industrial revolution 150 years after the colonial country started it, and so most of the carbon area was taken up by them. But then we can't really match the GHG emissions. So this is something that we all vouch for. We all talk about in global discussions. This is something that we all focus on, and as youth, we all want to bring forward the perspective of. I would like to raise one more point as something that might motivate the youth of today, is that globalization has absolutely opened up multiple opportunities for youth, where youth are funded, youth are motivated, youth have trainings, workshops, and whatnot to be involved in the climate space. So as a youth, if you ever feel that you don't have enough resources, maybe you don't have enough exposure to those resources, you have to meet the right people, you have to connect with the people involved in this space to be more active in this space, because opportunities are a lot. You just have to tap in on the opportunities. Lastly, I would like to say that a very famous quote by Barack Obama was that we are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change, but the last to do something about it, which is very true. Youth currently is very actively involved, directly or indirectly, in the processes of UNFCCC that is focusing on global change. And for our country, the MOEFCC, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So I would say that if you're a youth looking forward to get involved in the climate space, do your best to get involved with the other youth, because that way it's just synergy and you learn more about it. We have to tap into these processes, the global processes, to make a change. And one and only thing the youth absolutely desires in this century right now is to be given a place where we can raise and vouch for the important things, as in inclusion of all stakeholders whenever any decision of climate change is made. We demand a position at the panel, at the platform, to raise concerns, the relevant concerns, so that nobody feels neglected when we talk about climate change. I would just like to end my intervention by saying that the earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed, as stated by Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Achal. I think it's moments like these that remind us to, the importance of fostering sustainable development and climate change amongst youth. So thank you once again. Moving on, YCC serves both as a platform for competition and a forum for education, uniting both children and youth from across the country to collaborate in addressing climate change issues. The YCC photography competition, it stands as a platform to raise awareness among the climate change. We are happy to launch the photography competition for the year 2024 to 2025. I would screen the launch of the photography competition in the presence of our dignitaries. It's a virtual launch. I would like to screen it. So we have launched the photography competition. The website, it is live now. The photography competition, the theme for the competition is climate action for the future we want. Children and youth in the age category of 10 to 18 years and 90 to 25 years are eligible to participate in this competition. The details will be shared with you via email and through social media. So here are the details of the guidelines, and also we have the registration, which is part of the program. So you have to kindly be register here and upload your photograph, and this will basically give you an path to basically, be a part of the Youth Climate Conclave 2024 to 2025. So with this, thank you once again for joining everyone, and I would now we have the closing of the inaugural session. So we have almost, come to the closing and of the inaugural session. And for this, I would request Dr. Dipankar Saharia, who is a senior director of social transformation and strategic alliance at TERI, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Monmi. Good afternoon to all of you today. It is my great pleasure to be part of this Youth Climate Conclave. As TERI is celebrating its 50th anniversary, we have long been working in the sustainability space, and we understand the challenges of climate change as we are moving forward. But TERI took a step for this long back. We have a division dedicated for the youth that started about 30 years back. And particularly, I would like to say some of the major projects that we are handling is the Green Olympiad, which we recently last year celebrated its 25th edition, where the youth take part in this Olympiad from the schools and now to the colleges. So a big thing to make them aware of the environment, the changing climate, and understanding that what we need to do for the future. And understanding this, we have, the fifth edition of the Youth Climate Conclave. The conclave, as has been already said, it's a platform where the young minds can converse, share innovative ideas, and develop actionable solutions to combat climate change. Hearing Achal, I think the points that you mentioned are required by the youth, and understanding the point of intergenerational equity, that we should be handing over the work, the challenges, and share everything that we can do for the youth for the future. I think they are the torch bearers, and this particular conclave actually, prepares the youth to have that network, have that platform for sharing the ideas through the different activities that will be conducted during this conclave. We are deeply honored by the continuous support and recognition from the delegation of European Union to India, today represented by Mr. Nurmi, the Charge d'Affaires. This support underscores TERI's commitment to youth initiatives, as I've already mentioned, and our ongoing effort to engage and empower young people in the fight for a sustainable future. We deeply appreciate the support from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for this conclave. And I really want to thank our young Ms. Gautam for the wonderful lecture that she delivered, from all the points from, that needs to be done for the actions that we need to take for climate change, especially the finance part where we require more grants than loans. And also all actions that we need to, be aware of. I think one of the major problem is that, we are not reaching out to the grassroots where the awareness should be at the highest level. And especially to the schools in the rural areas where we really need to communicate that why we need to contribute toward our, effort on our challenges that we are facing due to climate change, and especially in India, in the recent times that we face the disasters, has been spoken by most of our distinguished guests today. I really thank our DG, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, for her leadership always in support of the things that we are carrying forward for TERI, and especially for the youth and for the Environment Education Division. Thank you, ma'am, for your support. This conclave, we really acknowledge the knowledge support of GIZ CEEW, the climate Fresk, that serves as both as a platform for competition and a forum for education. We deeply appreciate your support and contribution, which have been invaluable in making this conclave possible. And as explained by Bonmi regarding the, the photographic competition, I think we really look forward for a huge participation that will help us to create the awareness that is required in this particular conclave. I would like to thank all the participants today being part of this virtual launch of the Youth Conclave. And really thank you all. And on behalf of TERI, I extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone involved in this event. Thank you for the whole team that has made this possible, from Livlin, Monmi, and all the team members. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you once again to all the dignitaries. And we look forward to working with the youth, especially now. Our action will start. And before moving on to the next session, I would request all the dignitaries, if you can switch on your camera for a virtual group photograph. We have other dignitaries who have joined us today. We have guests from PwC. We have Mr. Chirag, we have Mr. Bartos and Ms. Johanna, who have joined from the delegation of European Union to India. We have our participants, our panel discussion. That is another highlight of the program that we have. So we have our panels, and since we are talking about photography competition, so we have a very special session for that as well. And yeah, so thank you everyone for joining today. And please I would request the participants to we have a panel discussion and the photography session, so I would request them to stay tuned. But for now we can just have a 1 minute group photograph. And thank you, Dr. Shelley from WSDS team, as mentioned by Achal. So, we will be talking about, YCC and WSDS team, and WSDS as well. So thank you all. Thank you to all the dignitaries for joining in. And thank you once again.
And we also welcome Ambassador
Yes.
Puri. He's just
Yes.
joined. Sir, thank you so much for making it to the event. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Without, I think, before moving on to the session on the insights of photography skills, I would request Ambassador Manjeev Puri, Distinguished Fellow at TERI, we are very grateful to have you, sir, and I would request you to kindly deliver the special remarks. Over to you, sir.
Monmi, Dr. Livlin Kalo, thank you very much. I just want to say a few words and apologies for joining late. I want to thank TERI. I want to thank Dr. Kalo and her team. This idea of involving the youth in climate and environmental matters is perhaps the most important. Around the world, we see a lot of consciousness, and a lot of consciousness leading to political empowerment of the subject of the issue and interest in it coming from younger people. After all, we are talking about future generation. And I am very glad that this is being done in India, done on a large scale, and that today, and like this, they've had these conclaves right throughout. What it does is it brings young people into the fold. It mainstreams the ideas. And above all, let me say something to the young people who are attending. We want to hear from you because the future is yours. And we want to hear from you. What do you think we should do? What we are bringing to you are ideas of the science. What we are bringing to you is the problems as we see it, the solutions again as we see it. But what we want to know from you is your interest, your passion, and what you want to do. I want to thank the European Union for being partners with TERI on this youth conclave, which they've done many times. But I really want to say thank you very much to all of you, the schools, the photography session. All of this is important because let us remember the future is ours and it is for us to take care of the planet, to take care of our future in our own interest. So thank you and heartiest congratulations to everyone once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Puri, for your encouragement to our youth. Youth are indeed an inspiration for their peers and the future generations alike. So thank you, sir. Once again, thank you for your kind encouragement. And we do hope that platforms like this help them to basically, move forward and to help them in the climate change agenda. Moving on, since we are talking about the photography competition and we have, the one of the highlight of the YCC is the photography competition. The to give you insights into the photographic skills, and we are very honored to have with us today Mr. Virendra Shekhawat, who is the founder at the Delhi Photography Club. I would request sir to throw some light into the photographic skills. Over to you, sir.
Okay, can I also present something?
Sure.
If you could give me some time.
Sure.
I think my Mac is not letting me do this. No problem. Okay, hi, my name is Virendra Shekhawat and I'm the founder of Delhi Photography Club. And we started this journey some 14 years back. And we never wanted to be a mainstream, like just a photography institute, like teaching people commercial photography, but we also wanted to bring change in the domain. So with that intent, we started the journey some like 14 years back, way back in 2010. And we not only teach people photography, but we also do photography walks, wherein we take them to various places like monuments, wildlife, whatever they wish to do. Then we do photo trips, then we host exhibitions. So there comes the idea of why photography. So when we talk about why photography, photography is not just about like getting right light or like just focusing on the subject and just click a picture so that you may go back and tell people that, okay, I was there, I have done that. It is not just about like being there and done that. Photography is beyond that. Photography is beyond that. Photography is about telling people that with your photos, you can actually be the change maker. It is not just about clicking a good like picture in the right light, but it is about, can your photo bring change in society? Can you actually showcase what is actually happening and what is the result of that? So if you talk about mountains, so every time we travel, we have to see like many visual, what you call visually appealing scenes. But how many times do we capture? Okay, after capturing, can you send it to a place where it can go to a larger audience, or where it can go as a like wherein it can go to the right people who see, oh my god, we have never visited this, to like an organization like TERI, where you are going, like you are doing amazing and immense amount of work, but not many times it is seen in the terms of visual delight. Every time it is a part of like either a report, or it is presented to like some of the departments or some of the funders. So photography is something which can actually bring change. It can help people in advocacy. It can actually showcase whatever the amount of money, effort has been like spent at the venue is replicated through the pictures. So photography is not just about clicking a good visually delightful photo. Sometimes images are beyond that. So here when we talk about photography, photography is not just like a good looking picture, but it can work as a change maker. When we say change maker, it can educate, it can motivate. And when you are already roping in youth, so youth is like something who is very techy. So you can always do some amount of hashtags. So we need not even wait for them to like click picture, come back to you, submit, leave it. Like just run a hashtag. If you are visiting a place in like Uttarakhand, visiting a place in Himalayas, just send us down 10 photos and you are featuring them not just through this photo contest, otherwise throughout the year, because it will help you in raising awareness. Because not many times you can reach those places. And these are the people who travel a lot. So it is not just about a photo contest, it is like a exhibition that can travel to people. Like when you see a picture around you and it is showcased in the newspaper, you see, read it to a greater extent. So it can be used as raising awareness. Two, it inspires empathy. Then it comes to documenting the change. So if there is afforestation happening, if there are floods, some like, because when you talk about this, we work with Government of India's NDRF. If you have heard this, National Disaster Response Force. So when we train their photographers, we train them to go to the places where there is no light, so that people can feel and make out what is the amount of like hard work NDRF does while they are rescuing people, and they are the first people to get the response. So here we tell them that you have to document everything, so that when other people are coming, they should be able to make out, because they were the first people to reach, so they should be able to make out the devastation happened. And these images are used for doing like impact assessment. Then good photos can always be used for influencing policy. All the reports, all the journals that you write, you can always include good photos. Then it could be a very good exercise for like creating communities, because when you empower these communities with these kind of tools of self-expression and social change, they can do wonders for us. And of course, when because photography is all about youth, and they are the people who are easily like moldable. You and me, we work on specific causes, we work on like specific projects. Whenever something new comes, we have to make out whether we have funds or not. So photography is something that can help you to create a community, and this community is like engaging on like daily, I should say weekly or monthly basis, so that you have a pool of bigger photographs. Then comes say promoting sustainability. So photography can create sustainability by showcasing environmental friendly practices, or some of the villages, some of the communities following best of the practices. So they can be taken visually, and help a larger audience to also inculcate those practices. So this is what I have in mind. Then the last thing that I would like to say, with our photos, it should be like they should create a sense of urgency that now it is the right time to inculcate that change, because other people are doing and you have to do your bit, and it should come as a social compulsion to the people. So hope I'm not sounding too much like practical. I'm not sounding like another gentleman talking tall claims about this. So photography. So in our classes, we tell people a thing of beauty is not always joy forever. Sometimes it is an alarm that now you have to stop somewhere and you have to take the note of the situation. And now it is high time that you should start doing something for the community, for the society, and for the environment, because that is permanent. That will remain with us. So more you are going to screw it, more it is going to screw you.
True.
That's all from my side. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Virendra. I think indeed, like you mentioned, I mean, the camera lens indeed, has the power to basically transcend words, capturing moments that, evoke emotion, provoke thought, and inspire action. So thank you for your words. I'm sure, with your words, the youth present today would gain some insights and be encouraged to participate in the competition. So thank you once again for joining.
Yes.
And thank you. All right. Another highlight of the launch today we have is the panel discussion, which is titled that YCC Youth Speaks, which is Youth as Catalyst for Climate Action, Innovations, Challenges, and Pathways Forward. The moderator and speakers for these sessions are indeed, active participants of YCC who have done excellent work in their field. And for this, I would request the moderator, Ms. Achal Gautam, uh, to who is also like mentioned, who is also a YCC alumni, to take it forward. Over to you, Achal.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the floor for the wonderful opportunity. And now I would love to commence with the session YCC Youth Speaks, Youth as Catalyst for Climate Action, Innovations, Challenges, and Pathways Forward. We all know that youth, their involvement in climate space and the kind of time, energy, as well as the kind of zeal youth has is uncomparable. And I have with myself four amazing people who have been involved in the climate space for quite some time now, who are spearheading change, whether locally, globally, and basically are ambassadors of youth action in this space. I have with myself Mr. Ashraf Nihal, Mr. Achintya Ghoshal, Ms. Komal Tiwari, and Mr. Darsh Vatsa. So the topic for our panel discussion is focusing on the innovations, challenges, and pathways forward in the climate space as faced by youth. I welcome all four of you, and I'm absolutely thrilled to begin with our discussion. And I would like to mention that feel free to talk about the innovations, your experiences, the challenges which you have faced or you have observed being an active participant in the climate space, as well as the future prospects in climate field or whatever you feel is something that you see in future that's well for the environment, well for the climate space. What do you see? What do you want? What do your perspective is as a youth? What have you observed throughout the years? So over to you for the panel discussion, and any one of you can take it forward from here.
I guess I am the one who's speaking right now. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Komal Tiwari, and right now I'm talking to all of you from Bangalore from my office. The sunlight that you see on my face right now is very rare for me to experience, and it is soothing on a way because we do not experience sunlight as often as I did when I was in other states. One thing that I mentioned this for was that this sunlight is soothing for me even in this odd hours of the morning or the afternoon, because I have not experienced it in a way I experienced it in the other parts of the state or the country. And this is because what is the impact of climate change. Starting out my words with this, I would mention that climate change has been a part of our lives for a very long time now, and eventually it's going to be a part of our lives in the future as well. What is important for us is to either adapt with it or mitigate it entirely. And when I talk about climate change, these two topics coming in, adaptability and mitigation, are often the ones that we debate about, we talk about. I would say that we currently are adapting to whatever is going on, and mitigation is something that we need to do in our present, and that is what is the work that we're supposed to do. Even there are things that I've seen in Bangalore. So you have a lot of vehicles, you have a lot of people, and a lot of things happening in Bangalore, but the pollution rates still are down than what is happening at Noida or Delhi NCR. The major reason to that, I would think, is the ideology that the people have there. People look forward to investing in their times into public transports. People encourage using public transports. Even in my office, in my company, they ask me to have bus tickets and everything. So they have this sense of understanding where they want to support public transport. They are looking forward to that. Apart from that, they also support Uber, the applications like Uber and Rapido. I don't know about the other applications, but Uber actually supports in terms of fare and reductions when it comes to traveling. So you will be given an option of CO2 emission and choosing a vehicle accordingly, which is an electrical vehicle. So you will be given special offers on that. You will be entitled to it in a way that you are supporting the environment, as well as you can see your own benefits in it. Because at the end of the day, to convince a mass audience, you need to have something as convincing as that. Before joining in here at my office, I had this opportunity to host quite a few sessions at my college and my school. and some of the colleges and schools apart from what we had in ours. So every time I would visit any of the schools and colleges and I had to explain them about climate change and everything, I think the doubt still remains on the very same thing about what climate change is and what is being misunderstood when I talk about climate change. So climate change is not completely or entirely related to what the weather forecast is or how is the weather changing in the current times and how is everything gonna go. Not repeating the definition again because most of us are very well known about that, but again, climate change requires understanding of knowledge. And to all the sessions that I've done, I always had to start with what is climate change, how are we going to mitigate that. There have been various innovative solutions that we have got. In fact, one being because I am a software engineer and I have a very technical background. So we had this competition of Google Solutions Challenge, and I was really happy to see this idea of cigarette butts emission and disposal related to climate change, which was a very impactful project that they built. So I would say that climate change and understanding of youth about climate change is impressive these days. A lot of the youths, they are trying to manage and mitigate of what all is left out in the environment. And with that, I would also like to mention that climate change is not something that is going to go in a day or two, but what it requires is a proper attention from all the youth, from all the people around. And youth is an important aspect in this, because youth can only be the one who can invest in their times, who can create awareness about this. Because unless and until people do not understand the importance or how difficult it is going to be, it can be really difficult for us to find a solution to it. So to create that awareness, to create that sense of understanding about the issue, how critical it is, I think youth plays a very important role, not just exploring and innovating. This can be a impact on that too. That would be with me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Komal, for the wonderful insights. Now, if I may, would Mr. Ashraf like to take it forward? I'm so sorry, but there might be some issues with the audio. I'm really sorry, Mr. Ashraf, but I can't hear you properly. I suppose it's the same with others as well. There might be some audio issues.
Yes, we can't hear Ashraf. Maybe Achinta can go next and Ashraf can check in the meanwhile.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Achintya, over to you, please.
Hi everyone. I hope audible. Thumbs up.
Yeah, Achintya, I think there are some audio issues, technical difficulties going on right now.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, now you are loud and clear. Please, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. I am Achintya. I am the newly appointed Youth Climate Advisor to the British Council. I am also currently pursuing my master's at the School of Ecology and Environment Studies, and I have worked with a lot of youth organizations like IYCN and We Are Tomorrow Global Partnerships with multiple youth stakeholders. And probably I'll start off by saying that, I, like many of you in the audience, have been on the other side of the table. I was also a participant of the Youth Climate Conclave in the last edition, and it feels great to be here on the other side of the table now, addressing all of you. From the launch for the fifth edition of the launch of the Youth Climate Conclave. And I have been very fortunate enough to work with a diverse group of people, especially youth, and how youth can actually take action and drive the change, because it is our kind of future that is up at stake. And we need to take actions and take responsibilities. And I feel like activism and all is very good, but we also need to move into much more formal forms of communications, like taking part in negotiations, taking part in bilaterals, or for that matter also do diplomacy and stuff, because youth have primarily been engaged at major conferences from a avenue where it's mostly doing activism, that you on a front of uninformed activism. So uh, I feel there has to be some transition and some changes, because it has not been a very good case, because we are not able to communicate our kind of changes, the changes that we want our voices through to the potential change makers or policy makers. So that is one of the major concerns, I feel. And of course, youth have always tried to work in silos isn't a way out. You need to kind of really work in collaboration with diverse stakeholders, bring the governments, bring the philanthropists, bring the startups and the youth organizations. Only that you will only through these collaborations and efforts you will be able to club your voices together, which will carry much more impact and weight to the policymakers. Because if you go ahead and just inform or like talk to one single policymaker alone, then the weight of the weight of the information that you carry is very low. So I guess collaboration is a very crucial aspect. And nowadays we also have the social media as a very big tool, and we should use it to our extent to kind of decimate as much as information as possible. Probably these are most of the points that I want to talk about. But also, like, more specific to Indian youth, I feel that a lot of the youth have thought this domain, or climate change or environment in general, as a very volunteer oriented, or I mean, like, work. And this is a very big misconception that the youth have created. It's not a voluntary career path. There's legit careers. There are legit like courses that you can take up, jobs that are being offered, and it is on the boom. And I guess in the next 5 years, green jobs are going to be the biggest kind of domain people will be working in. People are still not aware like what is green jobs, so that's also a huge gap and bridge that we need to maybe join. So um, and yeah, I guess the major issues that like youth face are probably the issue of, again, what I mentioned about silos. And once we kind of collaborate and work together, our words carry much more weight. And also probably financing is a big aspect that youth organizations and youth by themselves fail to kind of secure for doing a lot of stuff. So these are the major takeaways from my experience and what I have seen in the domain. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, Ajit.
Thank you so much, Ashintya. It was really refreshing to hear about the concerns that a youth possesses with respect to other youth. So moving forward, Ashraf or Darsh, any of you can take the floor.
Uh, am I audible now? Is it better?
Ashraf, yeah? Yes, you are.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, shall I go ahead, Dash? Do you mind it?
Absolutely, please.
Thank you so much, Asif, for having me. And coming back to TERI, it always feels like being home. So, I was one of the first alumni of ICC, and it has been a journey which has kept me hooked to climate and related cause. And while now I'm like in between Delhi and London, the adversity has always torn me apart. In London, I had to wait for summer at all because this time we didn't see summer. And in Delhi, I'm just struggling that I'll have a day without rain. So that is my crisis of climate. And I believe this is the generation that faces an unprecedented challenge in the climate crisis. And there's a bit of optimism that we are the only one rising to meet it with innovation and determination. I mean, like across the world, it's not young people who are just meeting merely inheriting environmental issues, but they're very actively developing and implementing solutions. And as adverse as it can go, which I mean, situation makes it very clear that it's from 1979, I assume, Arctic sea has diminished by 13% per decade, and 20 of the warmest years of the planet have been recorded over the last 22 years. That's my age. So I come from that vulnerable group. And while I just mentioned the statistic, it's not just number to us, but the youngsters. I feel they represent a lived reality and an impetus for action. And I believe actually you were talking about SB60 and the engagement there. So that is the domain I have kept myself very engaged, co-op, program. But I feel like platforms like YCC cater to more, decentralized aspect. They will get somebody who is not into the climate space also to acclimatize with the concern. While these platforms very much exist, it is only for a selected few. Like I don't know how much of it we can be on the same page, but for the past 3 years, I've seen the same faces going again and again, over and over to the same conferences, same exhibitions, and they are the ones who will be there at SB60, will be there at COP, and even the national portfolio. They will only be seen. Uh, and there, I feel there's a requirement for countryside youngsters to come in and make up their approach because this is multifaceted and innovative. I believe once in the Northeast in Sikkim, I came across a oxygen mask developed by a youngster who was in his early teens, and that was a plastic bottle where he had some plant and there was a mask attached to it. And this is nowhere seen in the national picture. I mean, like nowhere we are giving it its due. So that is one concern I have. But keeping that aside, I mean, like we are also seeing that we are witnessing a development of tech-oriented solutions for renewable energy optimization. Again, credit goes to the youngsters. The creation of biodegradable alternatives or single-use plastic, something I'm very passionate about, and the strategic use of social media. This is one thing where I just need to give the credit to the youngsters. They have been able to galvanize millions for climate awareness and action via social media. Projects like Fridays for Future have done phenomenally well. However, when we talk about the challenges, it is again multifaceted. And if I'm not wrong, the figure is some point 0.76% of philanthropic funding, which is allotted to like youth-led organizations. And that is all we get, irrespective of taking the lead. And it is also very contained with complex policy landscapes at different times because I don't think so like youngsters have been included in the policy framework to have a say. I mean, the psychological impact is considerable, with 59% of young people reporting severe anxiety about climate change. But I don't remember a single committee where youngsters have been taken as a voice, a considered voice in the policy space. But despite these obstacles, our resolve remains unwavering and channeling our concerns into constructive action, translating innovative ideas to making it scalable solutions. I feel we recognize the importance of intergenerational collaboration and combining with the fresh perspective of youth with the wisdom of experience. That is my ideal situation. And just to like before I meet my end, I just wanted to give three suggestions which have been again coming over and over. But I feel like education empowerment, policy engagement, and technology and innovation. They are the three domains where youngsters can work across intergenerational space, and this should be the future, of course. That's for me.
Thank you so much, Ashraf. It was really wonderful. And I kind of do align with what you said about how people who know about climate space are the ones who are everywhere. And there's a dire need to include people from all sects of society and not just youth and children, but also all stakeholders to be more aware about climate space and just to improve knowledge building in that area. Absolutely, Ashraf. Thank you so much. Over to you, Darsh. Thank you so much for your patience. We are very eager to hear from you. Please, over to you.
Hi, I hope my voice is going through.
Absolutely loud and clear.
Thank God. Okay. So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. And of course, first of all, greetings to everyone at TERI, fellow speakers, most of whom I already know, and of course, the attendees who are here for the session. It, as always, it feels great to be back at a TERI event. I love being a part of WSDS 5CC events. I will try to keep this slightly shorter and more on my introduction side, so that we can have things left for a hopefully a broader discussion. So my name is Darsh, and I am a 17-year-old student, and I'm kind of working in two domains. I'm working in climate advocacy for Resist2, which is the organization that I started with a few other people back in 2020. And I'm also working as a policy associate for Delhi-based Young India Foundation. So slightly separate domains, but also very linked in certain ways, which is kind of what I want to talk about. That when we talk about youth issues or climate issues, I have always found there to be a certain level of disconnect when we are talking about climate issues from rest of the issues that young people face. I believe that if we need to advance the dialogue on climate and solving climate change, whether it be through tech solutions, nature-based solutions, or general social solutions, we need to kind of integrate the climate science dialogue with overall youth issues. That is both a genuine concern and more a strategic concern. Strategically, it helps because then young people have a reason to also pay attention to issues that they might have previously thought of as not that important. And and at some level, all these issues are interlinked. You talk about so quite recently we had the issue wherein in Delhi, multiple coaching centers they faced flack because there was water logging, there was not enough civic management. But at the end of the day, we all know that civic management and civic engagement are related in the sense like how we deal with climate change and climate adaptability matters in our personal lives in multiple ways. It all intersects. So that has kind of been my focus, and that kind of helps because I work in two organizations which focus on these two separate domains. I have also previously been involved at this magazine. It's Mumbai-based sustainability magazine called Dhati to Me. Dhati is, of course, the Hindi for Earth here. And as an assistant editor, my focus was primarily on like kind of like hard research. So I focused on things like, say, how is deforestation linked to extreme and growing floods in Northeast India? Or things like how in Uttarakhand, the forest fires that are there in the news almost every year, how are they linked to British colonialism? Or, for example, how can we decarbonize delivery app chains now that these are such big conglomerates and such big, delivery chains at this point? And of course, we also kind of worked on assessing where India stands on various SDG indicators and sub-indicators. But what that entire research for almost a year told me is that, first of all, the information that actually needs to be out there, the more relatable information is not essentially there. I won't say that climate change in general is not a topic that's talked about enough. Like I remember having to write an essay on something or the other, like every year, every time my class changed. But the issue is just that the way it's talked about, it does not feel relatable and personal to students and young people enough for them to be like, okay, let's jump in and let's work on this. For me, the thing that made me jump in 4 years back was the Youth Climate Conclave. Before that, I would have probably like I would say that pre-YCC Darsh wouldn't doesn't have much in common with post-YCC Darsh, except for well maybe the name. Nothing else is common because pre-YCC Darsh did not have enough information about climate change. The best he knew was okay, let's plant trees, let's not use plastic bottles. But post-YCC Darsh was concerned about more things. Post-YCC Darsh knew that there is a certain level of climate impact that's linked to marginalized communities. There's a certain level of climate impact related to historical emissions, as Achal already pointed out in one of the previous sessions. So yeah, that's kind of what my work has been focused on, bridging that gap between youth issues and climate issues, so that climate is considered as a core youth issue, not as like a sub afterthought. And yeah, it's been great listening to everyone so far, and I look forward to more discussion in the panel. And I hope that this sets the scene for an even better conclave next year.
That is so true, Dash. Thank you so much for the insights because, yes, because for us to actually jump into this domain, we need to find something relatable which actually fuels our passion to work more in this area, which is something I think the media, when it projects climate change issues and related aspects, it kind of does lack in. And also, we as youth only have such reach. We don't have that kind of reach as the media does. So absolutely, point well taken. Thank you, Ashraf. Ma'am, do we have another 2-3 minutes to discuss on another question? Great. Thank you so much for confirmation, Levine, ma'am. Great, absolutely wonderful discussion so far. I would like to know from our wonderful panelists, what are the future prospects that you see in this area? It could be with respect to your role, the role that you play, or with respect to what you expect from the youth around, or also with respect to how you see supposedly media, supposedly other stakeholders empowering youth. So what are the kind of future perspective that you see? Over to you, panelists. Any one of you can go first.
Okay, so I can only take over because I have the energy right. I just finished it.
Great.
So I think when I think of like a future prospect on how climate dialogue can evolve in terms of youth issues, one very important thing for me would be that there are better channels for communication and consultation between youth bodies and say decision making groups, like whether it be the at the union level, the Ministry of Environment, or environmental bodies at the state level. Because right now that gap is causing a lot of, I would say, in a way, tension, wherein young people feel that they are not listened to enough, and the Ministry of and environmental bodies feel that our information is not reaching out to enough people. I think that kind of communication gap can be addressed the moment we have a channel that's clearly linking uh, the youth concerns to actual policy making decisions. And that's kind of also where the intergenerational partnership thing comes in, wherein these are policymakers who are experienced in policy making. We definitely cannot compete with them, but we have our own concerns which we feel can really fuel well into what they are discussing. And I think it's something that we can learn a lot on when it comes to other countries, especially in the West, who are trying more and more to incorporate that kind of a dialogue. I personally know for a fact that in the US, the White House has an environmental advisor who is a 20-year-old that is a youth environmental advisor to the White House. I'm not saying that we need to emulate that model entirely because our challenges are different, but there needs to be some level of better interaction between youth bodies and environmental bodies. There also has to be a certain level of focus on moving away from doomism. Because when I joined the climate space, there was a lot of lack of hope that things won't turn out well. We are not exactly, and I mean, at a certain level, if you talk only about data, that is true. The current targets are not really taking us where we should be going in terms of, let's say, the global average temperature. But that also does not mean that solutions are not there. Solutions are there, they just need to be discussed more. And these solutions have to be everything from, as I said, science-based solutions, so technology. It needs to be nature-based solutions. You need to protect forests as the most basic solution. And there need to be social solutions, as I talked about, better channels, better communication. And that idea that solutions are there and that we need to be hopeful can automatically enhance the sort of like attitude towards climate change in general. It can improve climate consensus, and it will make people feel that there is a reason to really engage on this issue. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Darsh. That was amazing. Achintya, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I mean, there's a plethora of, like opportunities in the climate space. You can start, I mean, I started with volunteering with multiple youth organizations, but then I started taking like leadership positions in different organizations. It can be youth organizations. There are other think tanks that have come up. There's a lot of think tanks that people are engaging with as interns. You can start off with like there's the Council of Energy, Environment, Water. There's TERI. There's European Union. So there's like, there's plenty of options. It's just about, your interest, your exploration, and where do you want to engage. Also, there's there's a lot of thematics that you actually, engage in. So it is really upon you where you want to engage. If somebody is interested in energy, they can go into energy. Somebody is interested in maybe agriculture, health. There's a lot of intersections that people have started working in. Social inclusions have been a big topic. Health, as I mentioned, climate health this year is also playing a crucial role in COP29. So it's upon you where you want to engage really, and you of course have like a lot of support systems around you. Even the institutions, like the major institutions across India, like IITs, and have developed their own climate change department wherein they focused on climate change initiatives, the research and all. So I mean, that's probably my take on it. And I mean, I also wanted to do something, so I have this thing of my own, like the environmental consortium, which is built on the three pillars that I really believe that we need to work on in the environment space, especially in youth. With the youth is basically the awareness, action, and advocacy. And so I built this, co-founded this consortium along with one of my friends, and we focus on collaboration aspect rather than competition with other youth movements. And we believe that it's not just textbook learning, which India is predominantly kind of famous for, and not rote learning. It has to be hands-on, real-life, grassroots level experience and learning, which actually inculcates that kind of action taking, like initiative or seed within you to bloom and just take actions, do work on the ground and actual work. And it's not just about talking and doing activism all around. So it has to be also getting back the information and the knowledge that you gather at co-op and SBs that we were mentioning into the ground, and how they can be converted into real life actions and on ground strategies to better kind of adapt, mitigate, and all those stuff. So yeah.
That is very inspiring, Achintya. It's very true, focusing on the collaborative strengths rather than on the competitive aspect that people usually get indulged in. That's great to know, Achintya. Thank you so much. Moving on, Komal or Ashraf, any of you would like to give more insights about what future prospects you see with respect to youth in this space? Yes, Ashraf, you can go. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ansel. Well, I feel that for me it is just one. Collaborate with us, invest in our ideas, and together we can drive meaningful change. I mean, like what my colleagues Achintya and Darshan have spoken, I don't have much to differ from them. It's all about approach and behavioral change. We have best of discussions, we are having multifaceted discussions, but that should not end right there. It has gone beyond the space. I mean, like, you just have the visuals from Gurgaon and Noida. People are just trapped in their 20-floor building. They just don't have the capacity of coming out. Some best and elite parts of Delhi are facing the same. So it's just no more about discussions and policy deliberation. It is about making an impact on the ground, and it can be very minute, say from approach, how we can make a behavioral change aspect. To a country like India, we have a long way to go, though we are doing very well. Our commitments have met. But yeah, again, when we come to in a policy framework, the West have always had something like Green Party concept. We lack here in India something of that sort. An outfit like that could definitely help. I don't remember any of the political parties who have incorporated green measures in their manifesto in the past election. But first world countries cater to it, and UK also had election right after India. I'm glad to say that I don't know of the larger picture because there are 470 plus MPs, but the Indian, the newcomers, like the Indian origin ones, of the 29, 10 of them share a sustainability and climate background, and they're all young. I mean, like they're in their 30s or say even late 20s. So there is an optimism, and we can definitely look up into it and inculcate the same. Definitely, there's a long way, but again, I would like to come back to it. Collaborate with us, invest in our ideas, give us the space, at least consider us. That's all.
Thank you so much, Ashraf. That was great. Focus on collaboration and come together to build a better future. And of course, I do align with your what you said about how we need influential people. For example, for political leaders to include such topics of importance in their manifestos before elections or in general, let's say. Thank you so much, Ashraf. Komal, would you like to go next? Miss Komal, would you like to go next?
Angela, I think we have lost her from the dialogue. Just conclude.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, amazing discussion. Thank you so much to Achintya, Darsh, Ashraf, and Komal for their wonderful insights about collaborative approach, about how we need to deal and talk about this space, not just amongst youth, but to people, the influential people, and how we need to collaboratively come forward to encourage them to include such topics in their manifestos or to, in their doings, and to take advantage of their positions, how they should be working in this space and how we should be encouraging them, and the importance of integration of climate science amongst other issues faced by youth in general. It was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, my fellow panelists. It was great to be in this space talking about climate space, climate action, climate science, and of course, learning so much from you. Thank you so much, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Achal. Thank you to all the speakers. We take pride in saying that this wonderful panelists that we had today are indeed a part of ICC, and we do hope that the new ones that have joined today would come in the future editions, would come in this platform again, and would come for the next 5-10 editions we have. So congratulations once again on your good work, and yeah, thank you once again to all the speakers. Thank you, Achal, especially to you for moderating the session. Thank you. We have come to the end of the program today. I now invite Dr. Livleen K. Kahlon, a Senior Fellow and Associate Director at the Environment Education Awareness Division at TERI, to kindly share her views and to propose the closing remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Monmi. We have been listening to all the young voices here, and I would say the success of any event is mapping the stakeholders who are a part of it. So we have the young and the old, we have the new and the already involved and inducted, and we also have people who have their own startups now in this youth sector. So nice to meet all of you. And before I say anything, please sit back and enjoy this powerful clip, which will now be played to all of you from the IT team. So Ritu, if you could just screen the clip, please. Thank you.
I would like to state that youth need to occupy the future for climate change. Youth of today should act now, else you will face the fury of climate change. The Youth Climate Conclave is a great platform for spreading awareness on climate change and related issues, and I wish this conclave a very successful event. I am sure all of you will play a very important role in making our planet a better planet with no one leave behind.
So thank you. And though a couple of spots were a repeat of what you already saw, but there was a purpose for redoing this for you. So, there are very, very interesting numerics which are presented through this particular video. And please pay note to the slide that says 55% of the youth are ready to convince their peers to make a change. So what about the remaining 45%? So we are doing this program for 5 years and we still are at 55%. And these are the youth who have been continuously exposed to the problem of climate change is posing to the humanity. And you have been getting so many platforms to make a difference in the world around you. So our job, and as a reinforcement to this entire group who takes forward the Youth Climate Conclave, is that we have to reach to each and every one around us. And this awakening has to come from within all of us. Today is the International Youth Day. We are privileged to have initiated the fifth edition today. But also, how many of you are aware that today is the World Elephant Day? So, these type of connections, we do not have to shut ourselves from other important messages that are going around us. We are in a unified planet. Today, we are concerned about climate change. We also have to be concerned about biodiversity. We have to be concerned about values. We need to pay attention to what Ashraf said, that he has been seeing the same faces on platforms again. So it is our moral duty to see that we reach out to every person around us in this unified battle to create awareness about climate change. We are going to have several new features. You have observed a participation from Julian from Climate Fresk. We'll have a lot of interactive workshops. We have our ambassadors who are already poised to make a difference. I know through opportunities from British Council, we have people, ambassadors here who are going to make a change. We have Daksh, who's already started a lot of work. Anjal is there with you. So we will do all what we speak. And what you are seeing today is just the top of the pyramid. So this launch was important for us to reconnect with each other. And as we move backward, we are going to reach to the base of the pyramid. We are going to connect with a lot of youth across the country. And of course, recognizing the challenges of a geographically diverse, linguistically diverse country like India, we will see to it that we converse in different languages and aspire for the change that we are promising, we will expose our youth to. So with this, please have faith in yourself. Our youth is the most valuable asset of the country, and India is home to a fifth of the world's youth population. So these numerics speak about the strength of youth. It speaks about the strength of Youth Climate Conclave, and all our stakeholders who are present today here. We are going to help you reach out to the change that you have dreamed about. Yes, policies are designed by policymakers, but you are the voices who are going to govern these policies with significant inputs. We will be with you till for the next 6-7 months. So stay with us, stay in touch with Monmi, and we will show you the way of making a difference in yet another edition of Youth Climate Conclave. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Livleen. Yeah, like Dr. Livleen has mentioned, you will have the opportunity to learn from, experts, collaborate with them. So yeah, it's the conclave is, not just an event. It is a movement that, empowers you, hopefully, to make a tangible difference in your communities and beyond. Before closing, I would request everyone, including the attendees, to quickly switch on their camera. We have given you the rights. Uh, we would we would we would be glad to have a group picture with you all. Hmm. Can we have all the attendees as well? including our team at TERI. We have here Ravi, Sumit, Taru, Naveen, everyone. Kashish. All right, let me take a group picture. Okay, I think I've taken one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you once again. Thank you to all the participants who have joined today. Thank you to all the dignitaries and the speakers who have joined and for giving us time to, be a part of this, it's our personal, I mean, our project, the YCC, fifth edition and the photography competition. So we will be getting in touch with all of you. We have around 330 students who have registered for this launch today. Apart from that, we would be circulating about the photography competition, so we would request you all to join in through photography competition and basically to join at the youth climate conclave 2024 to 2025. So good luck everyone, and we hope to see you again in YCC 2024 to 2025. Thank you everyone, have a good day.